Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 56 of A Wild Podcast has appeared, the official Pokemon podcast of Comicbook.com. I am one of your hosts, Jim Viscardi, and I am joined by Christian Hoffer and Megan Peters.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Christian, you got to remember that not everyone watches the video.
That's why I pointed.
But when I say, hey, and then like there's an awkward pause and you go, hey, that is not a good
If you're not watching
experience.
this, though, I really want to encourage you to at least try, because I put in a lot of effort to doing my peace signs and hand notations. I'm really extravagant with the way I talk with my hands, and you're really missing out on it if you're not watching. But if you're on the go, I understand.
I'm taking advantage of the fact that most people aren't watching by drinking my second cup of cold brew coffee for the day. So
nice.
that's how I'm That should just be my introduction. It's just me pounding down coffee at the start of the show every time.
Yes.
We've got so much to talk about this week that I am excited. We got a new Pokemon trailer / commercial / teaser. I don't know what it is, but it was a video, and we got a whole bunch more information about the Sword and Shield DLC. And there's just a bunch of news. So if you're new to the show, welcome. Let me give you a quick breakdown on how the show goes, so that way you are not. It's kind of like a map that you can follow along with us in a way. The first section is a news section. We go through real quick just so the Pokemon news of the week that we'll kind of get in, get out kind of thing, and then we take a break. Then we do our deep dive, which obviously today is going to be about the Sword and Shield DLC info that we learned, and then at the very end, Christian gives us a Pokemon fact of the week that we have been thoroughly enjoying. We've been making our way through the Pokedex. If you were listening to last episode, the episode number of our show does not correlate to the Pokemon fact of the week. I just want to make
Yes. Unfortunately, I did pick
missed opportunity, but we did get a lot of great stuff in the earlier episodes that if you have not listened, there's a lot of crazy Pokemon facts there that, when we get back to them, we'll have to try and find something new to talk about. But, I mean, those episodes are the reason why the Pokemon fact of the week is everyone's favorite segment. So, without further ado, let's jump into the news. On the anime front, Pokemon Journeys is coming back this weekend.
Yes.
Japanese TV.
Yes, it kind of took everyone by surprise. We got the confirmation that Pokemon Journeys has resumed production in Japan. The cast is recording, the animators, they're back at work. So this week will mark the debut of the first new Pokemon episode we've gotten in about 2 months or so, which is a very long break. I don't believe it's the longest break the anime has ever taken, but it's up there.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, it's high up there if it hasn't just barely beaten it yet, because we had a break back in the mid 2000s. But anyways, it's coming back. The episode will pick up with kind of Go and Ash on a weird safari trip. And so they're going to be running into a bunch of, Generation 1 Pokemon, Scyther, Oddish, a bunch of monsters that you would expect to see in safari zones during that generation. And things kind of get a little weird when a big storm comes into the safari, and all of a sudden Ash and Go have to kind of figure out everything that they're going to do to prepare for the night, especially when some Pokemon from higher generations appear and they become very confused. So it looks like we're back on track for the anime. We should also mention that now that June is here, soon Pokemon Journeys will be coming to Netflix. That will be coming up before we know it. So it's a good month to kind of plug back into the Pokemon anime. Gotta love Ash and Pikachu.
We do love Ash and Pikachu.
I mean,
but not Go.
Well, that's mainly a you issue.
Look,
that's not an Ash issue.
We have to let our audience experience Go when Journeys comes to Netflix. Okay, if they've been listening to the show long enough, they know we clearly have our opinions, but I am excited for folks to start learning on their own about the awfulness that is Go.
All right,
there we go.
There we go. Whatever. Anyways, the anime's coming back. It's soon going to be available on US Netflix. We're getting back into action. And yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens. We still don't have any news on Pokemon Coco, the movie that was meant to come out in July, but isn't now. So yeah, we'll find out.
Moving along to the Pokemon Go front, the Throwback Challenge special research started yesterday. By the time you're listening to this, started Wednesday, June 3rd. And so you have the opportunity to get some Galarian Pokemon finally in Pokemon Go.
Yep. Most of these Pokemon will be available from 7-kilometer eggs. If you have the Pokemon, if you completed all the special research tasks, like me, you will also be able to get them in certain encounters. However, from what I've read, I haven't had the chance to dive into closely into the special research yet. I know that other time zones have already gotten it, but from what I hear, the special research is actually like pretty intense.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, that'll be fun. I like when special research can't be completed in the course of an afternoon. Like, I'm still working on the Genesect special research, and also other Jirachi. I'm also still working on Jirachi.
Oh,
I need to catch a freaking Aerodactyl. They made that like the last thing, and so I'm just waiting for like the fossil event or something to come back.
I remember when Aerodactyls were like everywhere.
Yeah,
like
during the fossil event.
Well, no, it wasn't Aerodactyl a day one Pokemon Go Pokemon?
I mean, it was, but it was a pretty rare one.
Oh, they were. I just remember seeing them a bunch. Like, I still have them in my. If I trade you one, does that count?
No, it doesn't.
No, you have to cash it.
I've hatched 2 Aerodactyls since obtaining the Jirachi research.
I remember like that day 1, day 2 when we were all in the office and walking around their building complex for during our lunch breaks. It was nothing but Venonats and Aerodactyls for some reason.
Meanwhile, on day 1, day 2, while you guys were walking around playing the game, I was chained to my desk writing article after
article. Also playing
article.
The game.
I start off at like such a disadvantage. Like after like night 1, I didn't like really play Pokemon Go except at like 1 a.m. when I finally wrapped up playing the game or writing articles about the game. Oh, it was freaking intense. Those were the good old days.
Those are the glory days.
Yeah.
Time.
You know what Galarian Pokemon we can get?
So it's the Galarian forms of Stunfisk, which that one does appear in the wild. The Galarian versions of Zigzagoon, Meowth, and there's one other one, and I'm totally blanking on it because I am tired as I have a newborn. But give me 1 second. I can pull it up.
I still don't understand the whole Stunfisk thing. Like, I don't.
Other than it's amazing. Galarian, Darmanitan, and it's Daramuga. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So those
cool.
Most of those can be hatched from eggs if you have if you have the special research. Not purchase the special research because you can do that as well. But earned it, you will get guaranteed encounters with most of those Pokemon.
I'm mainly just waiting for Ponyta to show up. I mean, that's the true issue that we're at right now. I need an exact countdown to Galarian.
I had a regular Rapidash show up in the wild a couple days ago, and I have never seen that before. And I was like, look at that.
It always
look at you trying to represent when you're clearly underclassed. Like,
there's a few Pokemon that always surprise me when they pop up in Pokemon Go. Like randomly a Chansey showed up while I was walking around the neighborhood last week, and it was just like, the hell? Where did you come, friend? What special event did you get lost from?
Yeah. It's always so weird too, just like what, because I know nests move and spawn rates and all that stuff change from time to time, but for whatever reason my neighborhood for years now has just been Pinsir Central. Nothing but Pinsir.
Huh.
I know. It's crazy. So I'm like, now I've got a whole bunch of roided out Pinsirs, but
I mean, not bad. I
not bad.
haven't had anything in this house that I've moved into. There is nothing.
They moved.
Nothing.
There used to be a spawn point at my house, and they moved it 10 feet to the north, and that
Gross.
was enough to, like, you know, cause, like, now in order for me to catch any Pokemon, I have to go outside and walk to my neighbor's front yard.
Nice.
Come real friendly with that neighbor, I'm assuming.
We actually are.
Oh, well,
They play Pokemon Go as well. So
So the spawn point moved from your front yard to their front yard.
yeah, but the difference is that I am an adult, and
Oh,
they are children who play Pokemon Go there.
All right.
great.
But we also have a few more events coming up this month, right?
Yeah, they announced a ton of events for June. Everything from your standard, like the bug out event is coming back. There is, oh geez, I am like horrifically unprepared. I'm sorry, guys. The bug out event is coming back. They're doing a ton of different spotlight raids and spotlight hours. Let's see what else we've got. Trappage is going to be the this breakthrough research Pokemon of the month. Let's see what else. You get a chance to gain like Pokemon like Patrat, Numel, Clefairy, and Kricketot. The Solstice event is coming back, which traditionally has featured a switch in Solrock and Lunatone. They switch spots because those are region exclusive Pokemon. And yeah, bunch of, you know, good month coming up here in June. And of course, then there's the Galarian like throwback challenge event, which, you know, you'll see a lot more Unova Pokemon this week, and also those Galarian Pokemon that we talked about.
Sweet.
I hate the bug out. I hate it. I hate it. I don't like bug Pokemons. I think I really am like Misty IRL. I think I imprinted on her so deeply as a kid watching the anime. Love Vaporeon, and I hate bug Pokemon. That's just me. So we know one thing that I will be unwillingly participating in.
So it feels like just the other week we were kind of railing against the Pokemon company about the trading card game, about how, you know, it's not the easiest to, you know, stream or play online or, you know, potentially, you know, jump into and whatnot. And then all of a sudden they drop a new game called Battle Academy, which is a board game designed to teach you how to play the trading card game.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is pretty clearly. So one of the things with the collapse of Toys R Us, retailers like Walmart and Target are now the major toy distributors here in the United States. And one of the areas that is quickly growing for them are board games. If you ever go back into the toy section of Target, which I'm there on a pretty frequent basis, I have a 5-year-old, so I'm allowed to be back there. There is a very large space that is dedicated to board games, and these are not just like Monopoly or, you know, Clue. There is you know, a lot of popular, we call them like gateway games, stuff like Villainous, Azul. I've seen things like Pandemic in there, and so Pokemon Battle Academy, because the Pokemon cards can be somewhat like hard to find in Target. I mean, they have a dedicated section right by the checkout lane. Sometimes you see them in a few other different places, but it depends on the target. So this is the Pokemon Company's way of saying, when people ask, how do I learn how to play the Pokemon game? They point to Battle Academy. It can be found in every board game store, and every like Target board game section will be very easy to find. And I think it's actually, it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, no, like I definitely wish that something like this existed when I was trying to learn as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
especially because then, I mean, I got into it was so early and I was playing with a lot of kids my age. So a lot of us didn't know what we were talking about
Yeah.
because we like
I
had
just
it
remember just
wide.
making up rules left and right.
Yeah, like we were just making up like like prize cards. We were just like, these are the holy cards that have special powers. Like we had no
Jesus.
idea what any of it was about. It wasn't until finally like one of the kids' parents was like, I've had enough of this. And they like specially ordered an actual guidebook and like sat down and taught us like, y'all kids are dumb. So I'm glad that there's this, especially given like how far the TCG has come. There are a lot of different rules. There's a lot of different versions. I like this to kind of give you the basics and foundations in like a super cute way. Cause like one, the name Pokemon Battle Academy is just like super cute. I 900% want that to be a video game. Like that sounds really cute to me. So I'm very excited. I'm definitely going to be getting this for like the kids in my family.
I used to play when the card game first came out. We had no idea what the rules were. We basically each person took six cards to be representative of your team, and you would shuffle them randomly, and you would put them out. You like one at a time, and based on whatever you put out, you basically went like, okay, we flipped a coin to see whoever goes first, and then you pick the attack that you wanted to do to go against that person. And if it was enough to wipe out their hit points, then they had to throw another Pokemon out. But
no, I mean that's exactly what I did
10.
too.
I mean, I can't judge.
Exactly what I did.
I can't judge too harshly. I learned how to play the Pokemon trading card game from Pokemon the trading card game, the video game, which came out on the Game Boy.
Yeah, I didn't have
that's
that
how
yet.
I learned how to play both that and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay, that is how I learned how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! But I didn't have the Pokemon game because my brother would not give it to me. He was obsessed. He hogged it. So I, being 4 years younger than him, had to acquiesce to his demands and come up with my own version of the game.
I am still really upset that we have never gotten like an official like follow-up to that. Like they came out with a second Pokemon trading card game, the video game in Japan, which had all the Team Rocket cards. I've like said this like a dozen times, like on the show. Give me a Pokemon trading card video game for either mobile or for the Switch. Like, like digital card games.
That is not the whatever they use for their app, because that's awful.
Yeah, no, not online. But give me like, because like let's face it, like digital card games are all the freaking rage right now.
Dude,
like,
the Magic the Gathering one is huge.
That thing prints money. Prints money.
Good. And it would be so easy to do this on a phone. It would be amazing. Like Cardcaptor Sakura. Like just keep all your cards on your phone.
Speaking of Cardcaptor Sakura, my child and I have been watching Cardcaptor Sakura because it just came out on Netflix.
Yeah.
And like talk about like uplifting experience was when my child like put down his iPad last night to just watch like 2 episodes of Cardcaptor Sakura with me. And I just happened to get the first like collector's edition of the manga. And it came in like right before the show, and I was like opening it up, and my son's like, "Hey, that's that show that we were watching. It's a book too. Can we read it?" I'm like, "Yes, son. Yes, we can."
Oh,
man, anime back in the 90s. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh, Cardcaptor, Pokemon, bringing out them cards. Such a great time.
That classic Yu-Gi-Oh was just so good. I loved that show so much.
I mean,
but anyway,
it wasn't actually. It didn't really get good until like the Battle City arc.
Yes,
like that like Millennium, the Pegasus arc. One, they butchered. 4Kids butchered it. They freaking butchered it because it just so okay. So Yu-Gi-Oh, the manga had like an entire like series where it was just like Yu-Gi-Oh would play these random board games and basically send his opponents to hell. It was an entire no, I mean it was legitimately the thing that he did. He's like, "Oh, He's like, like some girl would be like, "Hey, Joey, I'm going to catfish you," and then like Yu-Gi-Oh would Yugi would be like, "No, you shall not catfish you, and also I'm sending you to hell after we play, like Cups the game." And it's like these like very just out there. So like, but that's how they like gradually introduce like Kaiba and Bakura and like all these characters, and then like the anime picks up straight into like the second major arc, which is all about the cards. And so they had to like do like all this like weirdo explanations and stuff, and it's just like it doesn't like you like watch it, it's like, oh god, this is kind of like weird, because like Bakura in the manga is like one like the core like members of Yugi's posse, and like in the anime he's just like randomly shows up, he's like, "Hey guys, I'm here."
Yeah,
like
but let's just...
Kaiba's brother is like a recurring antagonist.
Well, welcome to the new Yu-Gi-Oh corner of Yu-Gi-Oh corner of the Wild Podcast. This is a pure Pokemon podcast.
I will just say this before we move on from Yu-Gi-Oh. Joey, forever in my heart. And that's it. That's it. That's all I got. I'm done.
I like that, he entered a tournament with no experience in order to get his sister eyes. Straight up new eyes. Not even like experimental surgery. Like, I don't know if they like changed that in the anime, but like in the manga it was like, yeah, she needs eyes. Period. Here, by the way,
would do the same thing in Pokemon Go in 900, and he has gone into battles like not knowing anything. Not the eyes part, but like it can.
And then he punishes his Pokemon. That's the difference between Joey and
Joey's a good guy. Go.
Not so much. Not so much. Anyways,
so before we move on from the trading card game, we also do want to make mention that a new set is coming out, Darkness Ablaze, which will feature everyone's favorite Charizard, Eternus as in his Gigantamax form as
that's very cool
claw-type Master Hand, and Galarian Slowbro.
Which we will talk more about here.
I wanted to talk about it so much.
All right. Okay, I'm going to skip the last thing on our rundown because we do have to take our break. And then when we come back, Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC. Slowbro's got a gun. And then we'll get back. All right. So we got a new trailer, which is, I guess, what we're calling it in the notes. And
it's 3 minutes long.
It is 3 minutes.
I mean, you can't call it a commercial. Commercials aren't 3 minutes long.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's fair. So there was a ton of new information in it, like so much that like I was kind of thinking just the other day, looking, I was playing my Switch and I just saw Sword and Shield icon in there, and be like, I haven't played you in a while. And then this came out, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to get back into the game. I need to refresh all my stuff and get ready. So it's available on the site if you want to go take a look at it, or you can go to the Pokemon Company's YouTube channel, wherever you want to go look at it. It is definitely worth it. It'll definitely get you hyped. One of the biggest things, obviously, that we talked about last week when we talked about some of the data mines that happened from home was, everyone guessed correctly, Slowbro, Galarian Slowbro, has a gun.
Yes, he does.
Okay, but was it just... Sorry, I just have to say this really quick. Was it just me that when this was announced, that the only thing I had stuck in my head for the rest of the day was Aerosmith's Janie's Got a Gun? Yes. Except it was just Slowbro's got a gun. Like, that's the only thing I had in my head. And I'm done now.
And I too thought that, but the only difference was when that was playing in my head, it was going in Slowbro's voice the entire time.
Wow, so I truly missed out.
Instead of Gene Simmons, or not Gene Simmons, I can't. Steven Tyler. I cannot keep the old rock men apart. They all look alike.
Gene Simmons has a distinctive look.
Yes, he looks like Obstagoon.
It's also because he is part of Pokemon lore.
That's like, like I knew instantly it wasn't Gene Simmons. Like, no, that's the Pokemon. Which one of the which one of the like British rock dudes is it? It's like I couldn't even like think of the names. Newborn brain, basically. But yeah, it was just like Slowbro's got a gun. Instead, it was awesome. Yeah, that was what was going through my delirious head yesterday. So the difference is that while Shelder clamps onto his tail normally, and this it latches on to its hand and turns him, causes an allergic reaction in his body, which turns him into a poison type Pokemon. And occasionally, when that allergic reaction like kicks into high gear, Slowbro just starts going and pistol whipping anything that moves with his gun hand. He looks like Mega Man.
Mm-hmm.
And also, despite the fact that his name is literally Slowbro, he has incredibly quick reflexes, which is why he has a new ability called Quick Draw. Which
That's
is just
amazing.
Everything about this Pokemon is amazing. It's literally.
I am obsessed.
He is definitely the thing that I am looking forward to the most in this, in the Isle of Armor.
I've been waiting for someone to do fan art, and it probably exists. So if it does exist, please let me know. But like where it's basically like Iron Man and his repulsor, but it's just Slowbro with his gun, just doing this.
I just keep
Where
thinking
is
of
it?
Mega
Where?
Man.
Yeah.
Like it's
it
literally
is very
Slowbro Mega Man. He even has like the it's like the same arm and everything.
But I love how like his other hand is slightly dark purple on the end, and his feet are dark purple. Where and I don't know if this is a coincidence or not, but if anyone has dogs who may or may not have allergies, especially ones that may have like white fur around their paws, if they have an allergic reaction on their paws, their paws will get kind of stained. It'll look like a weird, like pinkish color, and it gives you the idea that, or it lets you know that, they're suffering from an allergies or whatever. It's the histamine that comes out. And so I saw that and I was like, oh, that seems pretty cool. It could be total coincidence, but that just happened to be because one of my dogs has allergies, and I noticed those on his paws. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
The official thing is Shelder's bite sets off the spices within that Galarian Slowpoke is like inundated with, because apparently he's reached a saturation point from his love of Galarian berries, and that is what transforms him into a poison Pokemon.
Interesting.
It's like the entire Pokemon is just so bizarre and amazing.
So are Venusaur and Blastoise's Gigantamax forms cooler or worse than Charizard's?
Cooler by far, both of them. Okay. Blastoise has literally become a battleship. And I will also point out, for the first time ever, Blastoise shoots water out of its cannons.
Thank you. It took so long.
Like
I remember
literally decades.
That was one of the big. I think we wrote a story about it. But that was one of the big things when we first learned about it. It was like, oh my gosh, is he gonna continue to shoot water from his mouth, or are they finally gonna come out of his cannons? And sure enough,
they did
coming out of his cannons.
Yeah, they both have pretty cool Gmax moves too, which they're the persistent damage type moves that continue to do damage for multiple turns to any Pokemon that is not of the same type as them. So for Venusaur, it's a grass type, and for Blastoise, it's water type. So it's going to continue to deal like persistent damage over the course of turns. So if you encounter these Pokemon in max raid battles, you better bring like a water type Pokemon that knows like electric type moves or something like that.
Otherwise, you're gonna get wrecked.
Yep.
That's true.
If I had to rank them, I'd probably go Blastoise, Charizard, Venusaur. I actually don't really like the Venusaur one that much.
Venusaur, like, it just kind of looks like he's wearing a big floppy hat.
Yeah.
Because like basically the plume that's on his back is just like giving him like emo bangs.
Yeah.
This is like MySpace era Venusaur.
My thing with the Charizard one is like,
he looks too much like Endeavor for me to not think he's cool.
Oh my god, yes, he is the Endeavor of Pokemon.
Oh, good. So he beats his children and his wife. Good to know.
Christian.
Hey, listen.
Talking about the look. Endeavor has a cool look.
Yes, and he's also a wife beater and a child beater.
He is an awful person.
Yikes. Yikes.
Like,
Spoilers
listen.
from My Hero Academia.
Spoilers for season 1. Like,
Hey,
that
that's
is
still
like
spoilers.
that is like, a core, thing that happened to one of the people, like, main characters. And I guess it's technically season 2.
All right, continue,
No.
Christian.
But like I think that honestly, Charizard's Gigantamax form looks really out of place compared to literally all the other Gigantamax Pokemon. They deliberately try to make him like look special, which gets into the entire Charizard gets too much love thing. But it's just like it looks weird. It looks like out of place compared to like all of the other Pokemon. It's like he just doesn't look like the other Gigantamax Pokemon. That's basically my issue with it.
Jim has a very confused look on his face.
Have you seen the other Gigantamax Pokemon?
Yeah, like do any of them like have their entire like bodies that glow? Like, he looks different. He looks radically
Alcremate
different.
turns into a tower of cake.
That's fine.
I feel like this is a subject that we will have to agree to disagree on.
That feels very much like, what Alcremate
Have you seen the Kinglers?
Yes, he looks like a larger Kingler.
No, no. No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. He just has like foam. He's got like a couple of extra joints. He looks like a particularly like yummy looking Kingler. You're right, Jim. You got me.
No. What?
Like that
What
definitely
happening?
looks like a Kingler that could belongs in a buffet.
Wow.
Like
Hey,
all you can
you
eat Kingler
are-
buffet.
Crazy.
Like Charizard looks like freaking Super Saiyan Charizard. And it's like, that's what it looks like. Like none of the other Pokemon like are literally like, I am Flame Eternal. Like, show me my Charmander so that I can punch it.
wow. This is
Hey,
getting very dark.
Listen, I'm not the one who compared it to Endeavor. If we're gonna compare Charizard to Endeavor,
but,
I'm
like,
going to send over all of its character
Orbeetle?
traits.
I mean, what about Orbeetle?
it looks like
Nah.
UFO. That's awesome.
But
Does it look like Super Saiyan Orbeetle? No, it looks like freaking
it
UFO.
could be.
What
No,
does Super
that's the
Saiyan
difference.
Orbeetle
It's like
look
all
like?
of the other ones.
Butterfree turns into Mothra.
Literally.
Again, awesome.
Literally.
So listen, here's the thing. You guys are like, oh yeah, look at how radically different, this Pokemon has turned into. And then meanwhile, Charizard's like, my power level is 9,000. Woo! It's lame. Like all the other ones get an actual realistic transformation. Meanwhile, Charizard apparently
gets
turns
fire
into
wings.
They can't mess with the base Charizard form because that's where they get their money from.
I'm just pointing out. You guys are literally making my point for me.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no. All these other ones have these real aesthetic differences
Not
that
Lapras.
actually look cool.
Lapras is the most boring of them all. It just has
How dare you?
He turns into a cruise ship. Like,
How dare
congratulations, Megan has officially taken my side. Like,
How
thank you.
dare you?
Thank you. You've gone too far, and now Megan agrees with me. that
Corviknight is
Charizard-
just a bigger Corviknight.
Yeah, Corviknight is lame. Listen, they're not all winners.
Wow.
Well, even
They're not.
Colossal is just a
Colossal.
bigger.
Colossal is a freaking mountain. He turns into a
Yeah.
goddamn mountain. He's like literally like, come within my belly, the one ring shall be forged.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Meanwhile, apparently Charizard is, flying around, feeling really upset that he is the number 2 Pokemon, and that he'll never stack up to All Might. And so therefore,
Wow.
all he does is he probably finds every Ditto that he can to breed until he can produce the perfect Charmander with the perfect IV stats that will one day surpass All Might.
Wow.
This is becoming a very uncomfortable discussion now.
Listen, if you're gonna turn this into Pokemon /MHA, like I live and breathe freaking My Hero Academia. I can do this all goddamn day.
Well, it's good to know that you already have the seeds planted for a crossover fic between the two series.
There you go.
So.
All right, let's keep moving on. Before we get to the legendary birds, I do want to mention, only because this was a topic of conversation and in one of our reviews for the show, which if you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and we read it on the air, you get a free Comicbook.com t-shirt. The
Post-pandemic, though.
Wow.
The trailer revealed Skarmory is confirmed for the game.
Yeah, Skarmory.
Yes.
I did not know that.
That's literally, I think, like the one new Pokemon that we confirmed. Like, it's really hard to keep track of what Pokemon we did know about and what we didn't know about. But the one new one that was definitively confirmed is Skarmory. It's coming back.
I must have like fallen asleep during some of the other ones because I don't remember Kangaskhan or Poliwhirl at all.
I think Kangaskhan was new too. I think we knew about the Poliwhirl family. But Kangaskhan is, I'm like 75% certain is new. Like the problem is
we would have gotten Lycanroc and all that. So like
the problem is that they do all of these like, you know, really like hard hitting, quick, like boom, 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 you know, like flashes of all these Pokemon, and it's just really hard to keep track unless they do like a spot like what they did with Kangaskhan or Skarmory in these trailers. And also, we were all looking out for Skarmory now because we have been, you know, that has entered the Pokemon podcast the conversation now multiple times.
So congratulations, Skarmory fans.
You got confirmed.
You got your weird looking bird in the game.
Can we though just take a moment to pour one out for Impotent, because he still was never like officially announced in any of that stuff. I mean, he's in the game and like we know it, but like none of the trailers are ever like Impotent's here. He was just like showed up.
That's true. All right, so legendary birds now have new types, and we got to see them a bit more in action, and they're pretty freaking cool. So
I am in love with these.
They're really cool.
So Articuno is now psychic.
Yep. And he shoots lasers from his eyes to kill you.
Good.
Zapdos is fighting.
And he will try to kick your head off.
Yep. And Moltres is now dark.
And he is basically Dobby. So he is probably Charizard's illegitimate son.
Also, can we talk about how Zapdos here just looks like a chocobo?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like
he just is a chocobo. He's just a
killer
chocobo. And like I'm 900% here for it.
Yeah. It's like literally like
Articuno is my favorite bird, and like he's now even more my favorite.
Well, it's like Articuno has always been my favorite bird, and he's even more now my favorite because he's Tuxedo Mask.
Yeah, he is. He literally is Tuxedo Mask. Like all of the changes they made to these birds are infinitely positive. Like normally when they do like these like swap changes, like they did for like the Alola region or anything like that, I was like, I like some of them I was okay with. These I am 900% on board with. They're so good.
Yeah, like I love the fact that they are balanced now because you know, I mean, before they all were technically weak to each other because you know Articuno is ice type, which is you know strong against you know flying types. Electric is strong against flying types, and fire is strong against ice types. So there's a little bit of that kind of like balance, but now the three are a true trio, and I love it. Like good on the Pokemon Company because fans have wanted that for a while. They have wanted the psychic fighting dark, like a true trio that represents that that cycle, and so now we finally have it. So
it'll be interesting to see how you get them because it makes it seem like they will come in seasons. Like obviously the season will be fast forwarded given the time frame of the game, but it makes it seem like that you know they also kind of migrate other places
they
at different times.
Well, they did say that these are straight up migratory birds. Which does seem to indicate now, mind you, outside of you know the Kanto region, these birds have been known to be like traveling legendaries, where they randomly pop up, you know, from route to route and all that stuff. So that could be how it's reflected. But you know, there's a lot, and we also saw there's this big tree that's in the Crown Tundra, which is probably going to have some lame name like the Crown Tree or something like that. And we saw in the new trailer that it is shown in different seasons. Whereas before it was only shown in the winter in our previous one. So now we saw it kind of like in the fall maybe or something like that. So that's you know that seasonal cycle could somehow play into it. The other thing is that we got confirmation that the two legendary golems are in fact new legendary golems, named keeping up with the terrible naming of these Pokemon. Regieleki is an electric type, and Regidrago is a dragon type.
So stupid. And I hate that they're the legendary golems. Rollin, who's our gaming person, I like how he made the point, because I hadn't even thought of it. Like, there's literally golem, like,
Yep.
the
Yeah,
Pokemon.
He's like, no, we can't call them legendary golems. I'm like, that's what the fans called them. Like, I didn't come up with it. And he's like, there's literally a Pokemon named Golem. And then my response should have been, no, there's not. I've never seen one in my playthrough of Pokemon Red and Blue, because that Pokemon doesn't exist in that game, unlike the other 149 of them.
Wow.
What's the name of the one that looks like the dragon head?
Regidrago.
Yeah, Regidrago.
Yeah.
That one looks pretty cool. I have hated most of them. Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. I have hated all of them.
It's because they're useless Pokemon. I mean, let's be clear. The difference is that these two actually seem to have, like, they have signature moves that actually seem really freaking effective. Regidrago turns in, now mind you, the story goes that Regigigas, the master of the legendary golems, attempted to create a golem out of dragon crystals, and all he could make was the head. And so then he locked it up in a temple because it was too powerful. And that is what Regidrago is. And its special move becomes more powerful. The higher HP it has, the more powerful it is. So this thing is literally a glass cannon of dragon power.
Good.
So people will, it'll probably be slow as heck, which means it'll be absolutely useless in competitive play. But you throw it in a trick room or something like that, and suddenly it's going to just like straight up murk, opposing Pokemon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think because of this we'll get like a Gigantamax Regigigas?
I don't know. I mean, that would be technically the second mythical Pokemon to have a Gigantamax form. The first being Melmetal, which technically has one. It's unreleased. Given the focus on it, because like legitimately, while the legendary birds seem like awesome, whatever's going on in the Crown Tundra seems to revolve around the golems. I don't know why. I mean, let's be frank. Of all the legendary Pokemon that exist, and there's like 50 of them, the lamest ones are the legendary golems. I mean, not only are they named after one of the lamest Pokemon ever, Golem, they also just suck. I mean, they are terrible Pokemon. They are a pain in the ass to get. Like, remember, like, to get like Regice, like you needed to have like a Relicanth or something like that. Like, I can't even remember because it was so stupid. You needed like a Wailmer and a Remoraid, and then you needed to like, go in like 3 circles. Another one, you need to know Morse code. I can't even remember how you got Regirock, but that sucked too. These Pokemon were not meant to be gotten.
Yeah.
So I am curious about the decision here, to like say, no, we're going to do an entire damn storyline about it, and you're going to like it.
Mm-hmm. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe I will like it.
I want to say, so we get introduced to a new character in this, the peony dude, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the dude with the construction cap.
Yeah.
Or the I guess it's like spelunking gear.
So because his name is Peony, are we assuming are we thinking he may or may not be really related to Chairman Rose? With their flower names?
I hope not. Oh, that would be the worst.
No.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
No.
They do mention that he is dedicated to his daughter. So, and they didn't introduce the daughter yet, but now I'm like curious how that's going to come up. That's like an actual possibility.
That's like a pretty good possibility. Like you go splunking with him and he tries to get these new legendaries because he like a turn has failed.
Yeah.
And like it's this whole ordeal. And like you
Oh my
hear
gosh,
and he's like,
and
I
then,
just
like-
broke Rose out of prison.
Just casually, it's like, so why are we spelunking in here? It's like, oh, by the way, we're actually spelunking to the Galar prison. This is where we keep all of our political prisoners here. And just like, no,
Right.
eject, abort. No. I can't wait for like us to find out, like, yeah, like Chairman Rose, like the reason why he's like, listen, guys, there's going to be an energy crisis in 1,000 years, and we just can't have that. And it's going to be because like Peony's daughter is in the hospital, and one time the power flickered, and there was minorly inconvenience, and then Rose just went off straight off the deep end about everything. It's like, no, we have to come up with a backup power source. It's like, yes, they're called generators.
Well,
Yes.
it's like the only reason I bring it up is because when I first saw it, like he has a very similar, like it looks like a shaved hairstyle on the side, which is a common haircut in the game, so it's whatever. But then it was his facial hair that I'm like, oh no.
Like
now
that is
that
too
you're
close.
saying it,
I
like,
wonder if the
definitely think
reveal
that's
will
the
be
case.
he like takes off his hat and suddenly an asymmetric bang falls.
Oh no.
Like that
no.
classic like anime reveal of it's like, oh, that that person that you thought was a guy is actually a girl because he takes off his hat and suddenly it's all these like long locks of hair and their voice becomes like 2 octaves higher. We're going to get that, only like it's going to be like, actually my name is Peony Rose. It's like, oh man.
Amazing.
Oh, this is the worst.
This
I hate
is
that
this is literally my nightmare in Pokemon
So-
form.
Anyway,
Rip.
okay, so we gotta wrap this up in a little bit. I just want to make mention. So there are a bunch of new features that were hinted at or teased at and even kind of announced. A new way to unlock Gigantamax forms. So no longer, if you want a Gigantamax Eevee, you didn't get Pokemon Let's Go Eevee or whatever, or didn't catch it during the raids or during whatever events. It looks like they're introducing a mechanic to get that in the form of soup.
Yep, it's called Max Soup. And
So stupid.
upon seeing it
How
in
is
the
it?
trailer,
How is it soup and not a curry when the curry
I
is like
know,
the biggest
that's
freaking?
what
because
I'm
it's a
angry
different
about.
part. It's a different part of the Galar region. Clearly, they do soups instead of curry. I mean, it's a
they're
regional
just
difference.
lazy. They're lazy. They just didn't want to
Also-
come up with a new
Well,
mechanic.
actually, it looks like a hot pot too.
It does.
It straight up looks like a hot pot. I mean, I am curious now if because of this, Jim is going to be, running to the side of the road, back where he dumped all of his Pokemon that he got rid of when he got like the Gigantamax versions of them. Like to see if that, like, all those Pokemon that he abandoned are still there. Because now there's a way. Like, I got a big laugh out of this. I was like, oh, this is like shockingly relevant to the Pokemon podcast. specifically saw as a complaint. and I'm sure you could hear the small violin playing as the Max Soup feature was revealed, as Jim looks off into past the camera and realizes all those Pokemon he got rid of, he could have kept.
They've been transferred. It's okay.
All those memories gone.
Jeez. And there's a few other things like tutor moves and dynamics raid group, which we'll go into more, probably a bit more next week, if anything. But those are all definitely cool features that you can read about on the site or check out like in the trailer as well. But like I said, we're running low on time, so I make sure we get to the Pokemon Fact of the Week and then wrap this baby up. So Christian, why don't you hit us with this week's Pokemon?
All right. So we all know that people eat Farfetch'd. We know this. This is a fact. It is well established. This Pokemon is nearly extinct due to overeating, except for in the Galar region because they fight back. However, the entire existence of this Pokemon there is a saying in Japanese where it is saying a duck comes with green onions. So basically it is like a saying like you get a little bit of unexpected and convenient luck, like, because you're hungry and suddenly a duck walks up to you and it's carrying the onions that you're going to cook him with. That is literally a saying in Japan, and that is where this Pokemon, the entire concept of this Pokemon is literally a Japanese phrase for having unexpected good luck. Also, and I really hope that one day the Pokemon Company explores this, there are apparently multiple far-fetched leak fighting text like styles. Like, I really hope that we one day get to see like, you know, like far-fetched only like fencing far-fetched, or far-fetched berserker far-fetched, or like far-fetched like, you know, like two sword style far-fetched.
Three sword style. Four
yes.
sword style.
Like, I really hope. Like, I saw that, it's like, man, that is just money on the table right there. Money on the table. Like, I would gladly collect all the far-fetched as they run around with different like styles of fighting techniques. Like, give it to me, Pokemon Company. Give it to me. I promise not to eat them.
Hopefully the anime will get to it.
Nice.
Yeah, because we could. Because they all look like, you know, freaking badasses. Then they're far-fetched.
Yep, especially in Galar.
Yep.
Especially in Galar.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, like I mentioned just a little bit earlier, if you leave us a review on iTunes, 5-star review, and we read it on the air, you get the chance to win. Not win. You earn yourself a Comicbook.com t-shirt that we will send out once the pandemic is all up and we're all allowed back in the office for me to get the t-shirts to drop off at the post office. Obviously, like, reading these reviews are some of the best things, some of the best parts I would speaking for the three of us, some of our favorite parts of this show. We know a lot of you love the Pokemon Fact of the Week, but getting to interact with our community is a huge has been a huge gift, I think, you know, for us on this show. And you know, given everything that is currently going on, you know, in the world, and it's, you know, now more than ever, you know, we want to let everyone know how much we appreciate the support that they show this show, and you know, especially for our listeners of color. You know, it's very easy for us to say, you know, Black Lives Matter to all of us here on the show, and it is not, you know, there's a lot going on, and you know, and everyone's voice deserves to be heard. And again, like, it's even one of those things. Well, even on our own show, we'll read the bad reviews. That's fine. But I think, you know, and you guys can jump in and chime in if you guys want. But you know, the Pokemon community, even in particular, is one of the greatest ones out there. You know, we wouldn't be continuing to do this if that weren't the case. So with that, if you guys want to say anything, otherwise I'm going to jump into today's review, because it's a good one.
Well, just really quick, you know, something that's become really that, you know, people have become really cognizant of, myself included, is the need to elevate Black creators, Black voices, and stuff like that. And that is something that I know I in particular will do a better job about, especially, you know, because you know that it's very easy to say something like that, you know, like, oh yeah, I'm going to elevate people of color, but, you know, like, oh well, you know, like, there are lots of you know, Black Pokemon fans who do fantastic cosplay and fan art and
streams.
and streams, and are content creators, and that is something that I know I will be doing a better job to elevate using this platform and the other platforms that we have at our disposal. Black lives, of course, matter, and we all need to do our part to end systemic racism.
Absolutely. And branching off that, I mean, I feel like the Pokemon Company has definitely done a great job in kind of bringing voices into their community. I mean, the main social media manager for the Pokemon Company in America is, you know, a very wonderful Black woman who's so strong. And whenever I've gotten the chance to talk with her, definitely the community is so wonderful. You know, the anime community, especially for Pokemon that I run into. I mean, anime is something that we've discussed, you know, on the anime side of, you know, Comicbook.com, that has a very close connection to communities of color, and the people who are creating content in that sphere are amazing. And they've gone on to create, you know, their own manga and their own anime here, you know, with Netflix or other communities. So Black Lives Matter in all sphere and all areas of discussion, and we're super excited to be able to, you know, reach out and elevate those platforms as they come to us.
For sure. All right, with that, let's get to. We'll go with our review from Bearded Grizzly. Nostalgia at its finest is the headline. I recently got back into collecting Pokemon cards, and there's nothing better than opening a fresh pack of cards and getting catapulted back into some dear childhood memories. While on the hunt for Pokemon cards, I was also looking for a podcast that would deal with something Pokemon. While a podcast has appeared, is above and beyond what I was looking for. The Pokemon Fact of the Week. After the Pokemon Fact of the Week, you should add a small section for continued Geodude hate. Thank you for all your hard work and continuing to keep us informed. Much love, Bearded Grizzly.
Love that. All
Yep.
right, that's our new section.
That
Continued propaganda against Geodude.
What are you talking about? The entire you guys take every chance you get to.
I mean, that's true.
Yes.
We did manage to get some very solid golem digs this week.
I mean, we
as
had
we do
entire
every week.
episodes dedicated.
I mean, it is. I really hope that one day our lasting legacy as a podcast will really be to solidify the many reasons why Geodude and its evolution suck. So
wow.
if we have accomplished that, then I will die happy.
Wow.
All right, that was very aggressive of you.
That's all the time we got for today.
Yeah.
And we will, if you're new to this show, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, you can find new episodes every Thursday wherever podcasts can be found. We're on every platform. So if you're thinking to yourself, are they there? Yeah, probably. If we're not, let us know. You can find me on Twitter at Jim Viscardi.
You can find me on Twitter at Megan Peters CB.
And I am at Seehofer Cbus.
And until then, we'll catch you at the same time, same place next week, folks. Have a good one.